Today's episode of the Mind Sculptors podcast is brought to you by Dragon Shield. From their legendary matte sleeves to their striking art designs, Dragon Shield's 25 years of expertise ensures your cards remain flawless game after game. Visit the link in the description to outfit your collection and help support the continued refinement of our show. Today's episode is also brought to you by the upcoming tournament, Frenzy at the Falls. With the fine craftsmanship of Excalibur events behind it, this marvelous cEDH event graces the Niagara Falls Convention Center in New York from November 28th to the 30th. The main cEDH tournament carries a $120 entry and boasts a prize pool that can scale up to $25,000. Both Callahan and Ian will be there, so do take a moment to visit the link in our description and secure your entry today. This episode is also made possible through the gracious support of our Patreon members. If you wish to join this esteemed group, simply visit patreon.com/the Mind Sculptors and become part of the SCULPTY family today. And of course, if you prefer a simpler gesture, we invite you to subscribe, leave a like, and comment on YouTube, or leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as a most fitting offering to the ever-watchful algorithm Jesus.
What's up?
Welcome everybody, come back to the Mind Sculptors podcast. That's right, I'm in the driver's seat today because we're trying something new so that I don't have that weird error where I keep freezing a bunch in the video.
We wanted Ian to not be recorded at 2 frames per hour.
Yeah. As a PowerPoint slide, yeah.
It looked. We had some funny comments about it last week that were very very good. Always love those.
It's not me, everybody. I promise. It's not a thing I'm doing wrong.
we have done a lot of triaging on it, and we're hoping this works, but we'll see.
Yes, we shall see.
So we are talking. We are doing some genetics research. I think that's like.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I don't want to get canceled. That was probably...
I was gonna say like this particular line of comedy is gonna flirt with some real interesting topics.
Don't worry, I'm not. We're not gonna do any American Eagle jeans ad shit up in here.
We're gonna be.
We're instead going to be brewing Jackal, Genius Geneticist from the Spider-Man set. This was one of the cards we highlighted in our set review as an interesting commander that has some potential. And was one that we have been kind of just,
excited about.
Yeah, just kind of like every time we have talked, we're like, man, I can't wait to brew this. Man, I can't wait to brew this. And we just haven't because we've been saving it for you, the viewer.
Yeah.
And so that is what we're going to be doing today. So Ian, starting off, well, before we do that, let's do one thing and let's read Jackal for those who don't have it memorized from our set.
Get my screen up too.
Which shame on you. But Jackal is a 1/1 human scientist villain that costs a green and a blue. It has trample and says whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value equal to Jackal's power, copy that spell, except the copy isn't legendary, then put a +1/+1 counter on Jackal. So some pretty interesting stuff that you can do with this, potentially. We wanted to explore some of what you can do. One of the things that we kind of said is that it has some potential to be adjacent to like a Abomination Kinnan in some respects. And so we're going to explore this a little bit today. So Ian, when we start here, what are your first thoughts when we're brewing this?
Yeah, I don't know if I would make the Abomination comparison. I think the playstyles are actually pretty different. I think it's closer to like
Yeah.
actually OG Kinnan. Um, but that being said, so there's a couple things pop out to us, right? That you and I talked about during the set review, right? As far as like the value proposition of the commander is very high, right? Like
Right.
even if you just play Jackal and then play a Birds of Paradise afterwards, like boom, that is a high value play, right? That we are excited about. The fact that it is a 2-mana legend means a couple small things that do add up for a lot, right? So first of all, that means Mox Amber is already turned on very early on in the game, right? We see this with Kinnan decks all the time. And I think the fact that we get Fierce Guardianship online very early on as well is also pretty efficient. Now, it is a cheap body that you can, hypothetically Eldritch, Neoform, etc. I don't think that's like the worst thing in the world because at the end of the day, there is this sort of very interesting proposition you have with this deck where the commander does need to be like kind of reset at some point if it has too many counters put on it, or if your curve is sort of not matching that of what your commander is doing.
Right.
The other really interesting part that we pointed out is that accepted isn't a legendary line of text, right? Like that does get really, really interesting, right? We talked about Kinnan earlier. Kinnan is a great example of a card that gets very, very stupid in this deck, right?
I
You
think
play
the
a
exact words we used when we were talking about this could get really fucky.
Yes, I
Um,
believe that's exactly what we said as well. Yeah. And I think that is, a
I
very
think that's
appropriate description.
the clinical term that we're looking for.
Yeah. So the one thing I don't want this deck to be, and this is obviously coming off of last weekend, right? Is like I don't want this to be like a semi-blue style deck, right? Because I don't
Right.
think it's actually going to be very good at winning the game in that space. I think the thing that makes this deck interesting is really treating it like a mid-range deck, right?
Mhm.
Because all of your creatures, not all of them, but like a significant amount of your creatures being able to pull double duty is really, really solid, right? And I think that's
Mhm.
something that we are really looking for with this commander is looking at ways that we can manipulate power without it necessarily turning into a casual deck and getting a little gimmicky, right? How can we
Mhm.
best suit our curve in the deck so that we are most likely to get those Jackal triggers on a consistent basis? Um, and I don't know if our audience has identified what I've already identified with this commander, which is probably the biggest point of concern that I have with this deck, is that there's no obvious win condition here.
Right.
And like that is definitely a bit concerning for this deck, for
Mhm.
me at least.
No,
What do you think there?
I fully agree with you, and I think that is kind of an issue with like blue green decks, kind
That
of
I don't have
writ
an outlet in the zone.
large.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that is one of the things that I think is going to be an issue whenever you are brewing like these types of decks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I think, when you are looking at blue green, I think the way to start off, if I
Yeah.
were to brew this,
Yeah.
is to find like a generic win condition
Yeah.
that like you can work with in this
Yeah.
and then
Sure.
kind of
Sure.
go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my brain definitely goes to like, okay, like infinite mana is really easy to achieve in blue green, right? But then we
Mhm.
need outlets for it, which I don't think is like the craziest thing in the world, right? Like you can look at cards like Kinnan and like Urza and stuff like that, right? Cards that
Mhm.
are already kind of silly with how this deck works, right? Like having two Urzas or two Kinnans is like a very good situation there, but they're also infinite mana outlets in the command zone as well, right?
Right.
So now all of a sudden these once again high value proposition creatures are just also, able to turn into something that wins the game, right? I do really think that that Jackal control is going to be really interesting. Like, how do we control the curve, right? Like, it's going to be a little weird to like not maybe play your Birds of Paradise on turn one so you can get that first Jackal trigger, all that kind
Right.
of stuff. It's going to be very interesting.
I think
Um,
it will have a little bit of similarity to how uh, Lavinia wanted to play in the early turns,
mm,
where
your priority is
the
just turn one Jackal.
yeah, the priority is almost always like turn one, you want this out
Yeah, makes
because
sense.
that's what allows your game plan to move forward.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
And I think that is one of the things that I think will be a limitation is I feel like
Mhm.
it's going to be a turn 3 deck, kind of no
Yeah.
matter which way you slice it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and the winning part I don't think is when going to come out right away, right? Like I think it really is going to be the case where like this is going to be a deck that is built on value engines, right? Like I don't
Right.
expect this to be a turn 3, turn 4 deck necessarily, which we've talked about might be a little bit tough in the current metagame. But that being
Right.
said, if you're getting enough value out of your plays, right? If you're playing a patient game plan with the deck, I don't see why it can't survive into the mid range, right? Which
Right.
is also, notably one of the concerns I do have is this idea that like we do need the deck to survive into the mid game, right? But then there's an aspect of like decks that develop heavily to the board can sometimes get punished for pushing the game later because eventually someone finds a way to wipe the board, hypothetically
Mhm.
speaking, right? Board wipes are higher now due to the rise of cradle decks, but I don't think it's so much so that this deck becomes like invalid, in that
Right.
sense. I think there's somewhat of a truth in between.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. So I think the obvious place to start is, what are your thoughts on like where would you start here? I guess is
Yeah,
my
yeah. So traditionally, I do start with combos for a lot of decks, right? If it's explicit in the command zone. Here, it's not as much, right? Because like one of my first thoughts for combos is like I think we should just be playing Kin and Basalt, right? And
Mhm.
that doesn't necessarily come from I'm getting that from the commander, right? But it comes from more the fact that oh well, that's a card I kind of want with this commander, anyways, is Kinnan, right? And so we
Right.
might as well look towards obviously this well-established combo already in the deck, as it were, right? Um, I think it's also kind of interesting too that like very classically, like Devoted Druid, right, is a card that very quickly dies in a lot of these decks, right? But if
Mhm.
you are able to copy it with your commander, now all of a sudden you have your opponents basically having the pressure of having to kill 2 Devoted Druids if they want to make sure that the Machine God's Effigy combo doesn't work, right? Which is
Right.
somewhat of a really interesting proposition there. Which also means that we need to find ways to, like with Ganon, right, have natural outlets in the composition of the deck, but I don't think that's an egregious ask, right? I think it's something that we can pretty
Oh
easily
no,
get.
I have to play Thrasios.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we have to do Thrasios, we'll have to do Thrasios. I hope that that's not the best option, but it may be. So,
It's
uh,
blue green. It may
yeah,
very well just be the best option.
yeah, agreed, agreed. And then there's also Ballista out there too, right? Which is like, you can argue that each has their own
It's true.
value, right? But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're gonna at least start with it, in my opinion, is like maybe throw those combos in and then kind of let the rest of the deck fill out the curve from there, right? So definitely, as we said like 6 times, we want this Kinnan in here, right? We'll throw in the basalt. I kind of like putting the basalt in the sideboard for right now, just because it's not an ironclad inclusion in the deck. Infinite colorless is very different than infinite colored.
Right.
I sort of sold myself on Devoted Druid. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I actually think that's a really good idea.
Cool, cool, cool. Machine God's Effigy, lovely, great. So that's a good place to start. And let's just put the basalt in just to speed things up a little bit as far as that
Mhm.
part is concerned. Now let's go into honestly with this deck. Let's get a couple of the staples in, right? Obviously, we talked about. Oop, it's, I know I gotta update this package. Everyone gives me shit for it every time. um, But obviously, we want to get our mana staples in, especially Chromox, Lotus Petal, Mox, Diamond are especially going to help with that turn 1 Jackal, like we talked about, being
Mhm.
very important to this deck. I do also think that there's some interesting conversations about Elvish Spirit Guide, right? I think that's another way to sort of almost guarantee that you get that turn 1 Jackal down,
Yep.
right? So that feels very clean to me in the deck, just to sort of start things off. Um, and then I really think the most important part of this deck is going to be those creatures. So I say let's just start tackling those. I threw birds in. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're playing Birds of Paradise? That
Yeah, I
seems
know.
I
What?
don't know, man.
Crazy. I
I
know.
don't know.
Um, Mockingbird's actually really interesting because it's flexible for wherever you put it on the curve.
That's very
Um,
true.
which is kind of fun. I do think that there's a certain like that feels like a recognition of like, hey Jackal, I see you and what you need. I'm kind of down for all of the 1 mana dorks, right? Like I get really worried about our early game stalling with this deck. So like
Mhm.
I do like this idea that we have all of our dorks here to
Yeah, and
like
I think
even
that kind of I think that also guarantees that if you have to play one or on turn 1 to get it out turn 2, it guarantees
Mhm.
that you are going to be able to play a dork after you
Mhm.
play Jackal still, right? Which I
Yeah,
think is
exactly.
like a big need.
Yeah, yeah. And what I like too is that like basically like it also sets up a really nice curve for you, right?
Mhm.
And the thing that I think this does a little bit different than Lavinia is that you can easily just go, for example, if your hand's like two of these guys, right? You can go, cool, Trop Island, Birds of Paradise, next turn, play Jackal, land drop, play one of my dorks, copy it, right?
Right.
Like that curve's actually really efficient for this deck, and I think there's a lot going for it as far as that aspect is concerned. Um, I feel like Gilded Drake is like such a slam dunk in this deck, right? Like that's one of those cards that like when
That
you think of
feels
this
like a
commander,
safe
yeah,
include.
yeah. Like
I
when you
also
think of
think
this
the
commander, it's
energy
so
version
there.
of it too is probably a safe include.
Volatile, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or at least a sideboard card, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. I like it for now. Let's get it in there. I like that a lot. Yeah, both of our commander or both of our combos so far are artifact combos, so I don't think we're going into like an oof style game plan. Although I
mhm,
think that there is probably a functionally separate version of this deck that could get away with that shit.
mhm,
I don't necessarily know that that's my favorite take on it so far.
right.
Um, Cloud of Fairies feels pretty fucked up tier too, right? It's just like
Oh god, that feels
a
like this
ritual.
feels like an incredible Cloud of Fairies deck.
Yeah. And it's like, it does sort of clear out your 2-drop, which is like they're obviously like I'd rather have 2 Gilded Drakes and 2 Cloud of Fairies, but like if you need the mana, sometimes you need the mana, right?
Right.
Um, I'm also like, tell me if I'm crazy here. I feel like having copies of Jackal also sounds fun too, right? Like I feel like you're supposed to have like multiple of those going. I don't necessarily know that I have a direct card that I'm thinking of immediately,
Mhm.
right? But like a Sakashima style card to like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I think
you know?
something like that could be interesting. Something else that I am also realizing as I'm looking at cards are
Yeah.
copy creatures are real fucked up in this.
Like clones, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clones are. So like
Yeah.
Phyrexian Metamorph, Clever
Yeah.
Impersonator, the uh the what is it? The Phantasmal Image.
Yeah.
Uh
Clever Impersonator being able to be 2 Ristic studies is like like kind of fucked up. Yeah, yeah.
Listen, I can only get so erect.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then fleshy D.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
all of those immediately feel very good. I also
Yeah.
feel like Polywog Prodigy is a maybe board
Yes.
card too.
I like Polywog a lot here. Like having 2 of those is
Yeah.
yeah.
Um oh god, I'm just looking at like EDH rec and like cards to play with this and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Spellseeker would be interesting with this."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like Spellseeker a lot,
uh
especially because look at our 3 is really empty right now, right? So
yeah.
also
Um
Spellseeker is such a classic, just for the audience out there, right? Like when you're playing these Simic decks, you can't stress the importance of being able to convert green tutors
mhm,
to sorceries, right? Like obviously you have access to things like mystical tutor and stuff like that, right? But like being able to turn the abundance you have of green tutors into something that could be a little bit more flexible for your game plan does come up quite a decent amount. I feel like okay, I'm about to hit up EDH Rex on this so far. See if
yeah.
maybe anybody's cooking real hard. Okay, staples, sure. Come on, I'm not looking for staples right now. I'm looking for the good shit. Oh yeah, Enduring Vitality, obviously.
Yeah.
And even if you don't copy
Um,
that, that's perfectly reasonable. Thrasios. Is
um
this is this actually good for this deck?
huh.
Right? It's like actually kind of based.
Maybe.
We'll considering word that. That's like actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
For the
that's
podcast
not the worst.
audience.
It's a little
We're
slow, but like
Yeah, we're looking at Owaka Traveling Merchant. So it says 1/2 with the tap ability, remove a counter from non-land permanent you control, draw a card, right? So the ability to remove counters off of Jackal, like we were mentioning earlier, very solid there. I'm also going through and sort of just sideboarding a few things that might be interesting in the
mhm.
deck. Spark Double is one of the first things I thought about, but as I said, don't have to go too deep into that. in case one Crater Hoof Behemoth wasn't enough. So we've got a couple cards, interestingly enough, in there. I also think that we probably should just put Hullbreaker in just to be safe.
Yeah. Yep. Hullbreaker seems fine.
I find that in a lot of these Simic mid-range decks, it's like if you have Hullbreaker, you often can find a way to actually convert it into something real.
Mhm.
Okay, so we mentioned that this deck, okay, we got a couple of value creatures in to start with, right? Obviously, this is just the start of this thing. I'm going to get some of the fruit and vegetables out of the way, as many people know. When we work on decks like this, obviously, you want to have all the stuff that the deck is going to thrive with, right? So we mentioned Mox Amber earlier. There's that little bit of like guaranteed acceleration for this deck. I mentioned earlier we were talking about Fierce Guardianship, and I think I'll start with sort of a basic interaction package with the intent of sort of having, like, as we mentioned, this is going to hopefully be more of a mid-range deck, so we do need that sort of idea that like the things we're getting value off of are going to be allowing us to play the mid-range game a little bit better than some of our opponents, right? That's kind of the hope here, is that we are able to interact with the table, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're looking at Fierce Guardianship, Flusterstorm, Mental Misstep, An Offer You Can't Refuse, Swan Song. We're looking at Veil of Summer. Veil of Summer is obviously not like a fully ubiquitous card in all of these decks, but I think in a deck like this that gets absolutely wrecked by an Orcish Bowmasters, I think we need a Veil of Summer for sure.
I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we need our Force of Will. And I know there's been some like I've been definitely having a lot of talks with folks about like Force of Negation in decks. I think this is exactly one of those decks where I do want Force of Negation, right? I know like Force of like Miscast and things like that are better protecting your own win cons, but I don't think that's necessarily what we're trying to do here with this deck, right? This is a deck where I think we're going to be engaging in the mid range plan a little bit more than the average decks. What am I missing? Mindbreak Trap, right? Oh, and then Pact of Negation too. Although this is going to be a very awkward Pact deck. I'm like almost tempted not to play Pact specifically in this deck because, in my opinion, this deck goes so frequently into the mid-range space, and Pact of Negation is really, really good when you are protecting wins, right? And it's really, really bad in the mid-range game. So I'm almost tempted to not play Pact here, and I'm just going to put it in the sideboard for that reason. I think honestly, Pact is, because the format's been very proactive. Pact hasn't really been in that type of conversation in a long time, but it was actually a card people used to debate a lot more frequently in the format. I did mention Urza earlier. How do you feel about that?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
It's just not bad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Adding Finale, adding Nature's Rhythm. They went to the sideboard because they have the sideboard button clicked on currently. Oopsies. Probably put Invasion for the same respects, because also it's one of those things where if you have Infinite, it allows you to go get the creature that you consider your outlet per se, right?
Right.
I do think that this kind of should be a Fairy Mastermind deck because of everything we're talking about for the infinite mana stuff, even though many people know I'm not a huge use Fairy Mastermind as your infinite outlet advocate. I think that there are many flaws with that mentality, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that assessment, but
Yeah. Okay.
I also think an interesting card that might, I don't know if it's worth playing, but it's an interesting card.
Okay.
Is Bioshift, which is a hybrid green-blue instant that says move any number of +1/+1 counters from target creature onto another target creature with the same controller.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that falls under the like, I don't know. I don't know if that's
literally
good.
it's like I don't know. I could see where that would be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like effects like this are better than like blink effects, right? Because blink effects only allow you to reset, right? They don't allow you to find a way to like move things around in that capacity, right? Like if you have a bunch of 2-drops in hand, you want to just take one counter off. You don't want to reset back to 0, right?
Exactly. The other thing that might also be worth playing is Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
To add more counters, hypothetically.
Well, maybe, but also as a way to use your I think there might be a combo there where you should be able to, with like Agatha's and what's the Devoted Druid, depending on where you're at, you might be able to like cast through a good amount of stuff. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you can take off your +1/+1 counters.
Yeah. I mean, it's good with very specifically Devoted Druid in your commander, right?
Right.
It's a little bit worse otherwise, though.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Not opposed to it.
Yeah, I think it's like a card that I think just has like inherent synergy. And so that's why I'm like, maybe it's worth considering.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
I
think Subtlety is kind of interesting.
I do think Subtlety is kind of interesting. I think that could be very interesting.
For those who don't know, Subtlety is a Voke elemental. When it enters, choose up to one creature or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. It's a flash flyer and it has evoke, exile a blue card from your hand. So it's kind of like force of put creature on top or bottom of library. But you can also just hardcast it, which is kind of fun in a deck like this. I don't know that I'm enamored with Subtlety in this metagame, but like I think it has the potential to do some stuff. You know, it is fighting in the 4 slot, which is against some other stuff, but also we don't need to copy it, right? Like it can also just do its thing, right? But having a creature focused deck, I think it's kind of nice to have that. I realize we don't have Worldly Tutor in the deck, and obviously that's gonna go in there for sure. Yeah. We do also have a couple artifact payoffs, notably, right? So we don't have yet any artifact tutors. I think it might be worth it to wait a minute just to see which ones line up best with the deck. Because, right, like your brain immediately goes to like, oh, Transmute Artifact, right? But if you look at the deck, it's like, okay, Transmute Artifact is fine, right? Transmute Artifact, we don't have that many artifacts to sacrifice to convert to other artifacts as of right now, right? So then, like, my brain goes to, like, Scour for Scraps, kind of an interesting one, right? The new one. At least Tezzeret is 100%, I think, a card that makes it in, because this card is extremely flexible. Tezzeret also makes me think of the fact that we did not yet add the One Ring, which I think obviously goes in a deck like this.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty safe take.
Yes, a safe addition for sure, for sure. It's also maybe a Sylvan Library deck, but that's maybe a bit of a later conversation. Okay.
God, I'm just still not over this cough.
Yeah.
Doing my best, but
the lungs getting to you.
No,
yeah, we have yet to add Mystic and Rhystic, but obviously those go in. Core definitely goes in a deck like this. Oh my god. Mox Opal we're waiting on because we're not sure the payoffs.
How many artifacts we're gonna be?
Yeah.
Nesting Grounds might be an interesting card to play as a land.
Sure, walk me through it.
Nesting Grounds, it taps for colorless, but for a generic, you can tap it and move a counter from target permanent you control onto another target permanent. There's another card that potentially can be used to
the colorless land, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Potentially be used to, help move stuff around if we
and it's nice not taking up a spell slot, right? And in that capacity, I think having it in that non-creature spot is a little bit, maybe nicer for our mana base.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Oh, Survival of the Fittest is really interesting here, right? Because it's a little bit better than the normal green X tutors in this deck because you're wanting to pitch a card to put a card in your hand, right? And because specifically Jackal cares about the fact that you're casting these cards, right? So I think that there's something kind of interesting there as far as that part's concerned, because we do care about creatures in hand to cast them, right? So we're getting those Jackal triggers more frequently, Also through Archaic, and I don't know that we're going to get to 5 counters, but boy, if we do, 2 of those would be pretty hard to get through.
Yeah, that could get a little
wacky.
Funky.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so our exploration through mana values was kind of whatever. We got some interesting pickups. We got 6, which I do think is a great one. Hydroelectric's in the deck now, which is obviously big ups for hydroelectric
Big
specimen
uppies.
fans out there. Yeah, big uppies. I feel like we need more interaction. Like this
Yeah.
is an area that I feel like is lacking.
Yeah, this is real medium green or whatever the fuck.
No, this is much more than Simon Blue would ever play. But
so I
like
think
a dispel maybe.
yeah,
Something like
probably
that.
maybe a delay, mana drain.
Yeah, like a 2-mana counterspell. I'm down for that. What are we looking at here? I mean, we have enough blue and stuff like that where I don't mind a 2-mana counterspell.
Mhm.
Which one is the question?
I feel like in this deck, mana drain might be the way.
I feel like Mana Drain might be the way as well. Look at us boomers. Playing Mana Drain the year of our Lord 2025.
Mhm.
I think this
Hard
is
counters, good. That's
Yeah. This is definitely a commandeer deck in my opinion.
oh, for sure.
Like we have a lot of blue cards in here. I'm not worried about that part. I also think I kind of want to play a Strict Serenade because I've been finding a lot right now that like people are just getting away with the play a broken creature and you have to deal with that type of mentality.
Because
And I
nobody
think
is
that's
playing hard counters or cards that counter creatures.
yeah. So Strix it is. Now it is worth noting that we also have subtlety, right? So like they might be fighting for the same slot, but I'm down to keep it open for the time being. I actually like Strix better than subtlety because Strix
Mhm.
also hits Kinnon's Basalt Monolith, which I don't
Sure.
think is bad. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Let's get that ballista in there, like we talked about.
Mhm. I think this is 100% a Spellskite deck. Like,
Yeah, that
if
makes
I've
sense.
ever seen one.
I think survival goes in as well.
Yeah, I think this is pretty straightforwardly a survival deck.
Yeah. Okay. Flood Caller is kind of interesting. I'm like really close on Flood Caller.
Yeah, I feel like if you play that, then you have to play Kitsa.
Why so?
Mostly to take advantage of the double triggers you're
Yeah, I
getting.
mean we're in like Birds and Mockingbird, right? So like it's like you can
Yeah.
still take advantage of it, right? The fact that you like double Flood Caller with Birds of Paradise is pretty messed up, you know?
Yeah. That's kind of my thought is like if you're doing this, like I think Kitsa at least like if you're gonna be on Flood Caller, I think Kitsa at least gives you like an outlet for some of that stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. I don't hate it per se.
I am not a fan of Kitsa for what it's worth. Like
Yeah.
I don't love Kitsa Flood Caller stuff the way like Jeremy does.
Yeah.
But like I feel like you're kind of pushed into playing Kitsa if you play Flood Caller in this.
I don't necessarily know that I agree. I feel like you're drawing a line here that I'm not really sure is a solid line.
Yeah, fair.
Do we think we need to do like Peregrine Drake stuff?
I was thinking about Peregrine Drake. I was not sure how I felt about it, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but
Yeah. Also,
I
going back to similar mentality here. Going back to a card you mentioned earlier, Sowing Myco Spawn. Is it that bad if Sowing Myco Spawn is just a Sowing Myco Spawn?
no.
Like this deck feels like it uses Cradle pretty well, you know?
No, I fully agree. Like
Okay.
I think we probably just play it anyway. It just doesn't do what we want it to do.
Yeah. Like, and also if you do copy it, like cool, that's 2 bodies for Cradle.
Yeah. Shoot, darn.
Yeah, dang. Ding dang. Okay. Something there. I feel like we need more card draw.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I just don't know how we're getting it. Okay, now that the deck's a little more fleshed out, let's look at our Agatha's targets. It's our Mana Dorks, for sure.
Mhm.
Our Ballista, which I don't think is bad. I think that's a good thing to be able to get recursion on, right?
I also think there is something with that to where like the ability to remove a counter off of Jackal to get him where you want him to be and ping something is like
That's funny. So if you Agatha's the Ballista onto Jackal, put a counter on, shoot something twice, cast a thing, get a copy of it. Yeah, there's some cute shit there for sure. I like that a lot.
That was my thought with the Soul Cauldron is that like
things that allow you to remove counters get better, actually.
Yeah, like you have some flexibility there.
Yeah.
And that's also why I was thinking like
Yeah.
the devoted druid stuff
Yeah.
seems kind of interesting
Yeah.
because
Agreed.
it kind of gives Jackal this like
Yeah. I'm more open to it.
consistency.
Yeah. I also like that we have recursion for Spellskite now too, which is
Yeah.
really nice.
Mhm.
How do you feel about where do we end on Peregrine Drake? I think that seems decent, right? I'm
I
like
think
I'm so tempted to play like Peregrine Deadeye, you know, like I really am, just to have another infinite in the deck. But
yeah. I mean, I think Peregrine on its own
yeah,
feels like it's very close to me.
I just feel like I really actually believe in the Peregrine Deadeye line, you know, like
Mhm.
almost more than I believe in like Basalt, you know, because of the colored mana, you know, the fact that you can pump Infinite Kinnan into it or Infinite Fairy Mastermind, you know.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Okay, yeah, all right, we're going old school, doing a little Deadeye shit.
I also I think we should just play Kitsa, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, we're on the Kitsa train.
I think I'm fully on Kitsa at this point. The
Yeah.
more I look at this, the more I'm just like, man, double Kitsa just kind of
Does good stuff, yeah.
does a
And we
lot
don't
of
even
good
need to do
stuff.
the dramatic reversal stuff with it, right? Like, it's more so just the fact that it's, like, a decent card on its
Yeah,
own, you
it's
know?
just a good card, right? And I also
Yeah.
think that there is a level 2 with it where, like, if we're going to do Retraction Helix, Flood Caller,
Uh-huh.
we have, like,
Yeah.
more, like, play with that than we would
Yeah.
otherwise, right? Like
Yeah, and notably too, I do think, like, being on the Peregrine stuff and the Deadeye stuff, like, does maybe relieve the need to necessarily go even into that, right?
right,
Or
right.
maybe relieves the need to be on Hullbreaker. But, like, actually, Hullbreaker plus Peregrine, Hullbreaker plus Cloud are actually really good together, right?
No,
Because
I think Hullbreaker in this deck
makes a
is
lot of sense, yeah.
real hard to cut.
Yeah.
Um, is kind of where my head is at.
I'm kinda down to cut Basalt Monolith, to be honest.
I'm glad you were there.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm there yet, but
Okay.
I'm treading in that direction.
Okay. I will take that. I will take
Yeah,
that.
that's kinda where I'm at mentally at the
Yeah.
moment.
I'm gonna start fixing this mana base. Obviously,
Yeah.
as much as I love
The
30 islands, I feel
the
like
more I really think, like, what this deck will be really good at, the more I, like, stew on it,
yeah, maybe.
is it's going to be really good at taking advantage of copy spells,
Oh yeah.
in a way that I think maybe other decks aren't,
Mhm.
and I think
Mhm.
that's where our Sylvan Library gets to be really good, if that makes
Yes, we're
sense.
not on that yet, I think, right?
Or not Sylvan Library, I meant Survival of the Fittest.
Oh, sure.
Um, because survival lets us kind of get the tool that we need in any given
Mhm.
moment, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so I think are we on survival right now? We are. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I think we
Mhm.
should be.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I also think we probably want to be on Thrasios.
I don't necessarily know that we need it. It's like it is a dead card, right? Like I think
Yeah.
that like I
Yeah.
feel like playing
That's
it
true.
is actively bad for our deck, you know?
Yeah.
I straight up don't know if we're an Ancient Tomb deck. I'm not gonna lie. Like Ancient Tomb does not do a hold. I guess like hit some of these medium creatures, right? Like a
You
turn
play
2.
Ancient Tomb, but you also but you like we also want to play like the talisman shit, you know what I mean? Like I think
Okay.
it specifically gets us into our mana more than anything, right?
Sure. Because we're not even on
Which
Arcane Signet yet, which
I think
is
we
something we need
should
to
I'm
adjust.
gonna go ahead
Yeah,
and add in the talisman and
in the Arcane Signet. I don't think
yeah,
I would add more than that, but I think those at least are clean enough.
I agree. And you know
Yeah,
my
that means we have to
opinions
make
on
some cuts
Fellwar
then.
Stone, so
What was that?
I said you know my opinion on Fellwar Stone.
I think 28 lands is the perfect number for this deck for sure.
I would agree.
Um, I think this is, we can afford Emergent Zone,
Yeah. Yep.
even though we're not on Crop Rot yet, and I'll say yet.
I think we probably are on Crop Rot.
Yeah,
I think like if we're gonna play Mycosynth, like why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Right? Like
Micro Spawn, you mean? Yeah, gotcha.
yeah, what did I say? Mycosynth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me dreaming. Uh,
Are we, are we going? No. This is not a good Aboro Breeze Color deck. Never mind. I was about to go too deep there.
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's blue green. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand the impulse.
Yeah. Oh my god, we're not even on fucking Cyclonic Rift. Yikes.
Yikes, Scoob.
Zoinks.
Zoinks.
I also want to pay attention to our green count because like we're close to Force of Vigor, which I don't hate if we're gonna deal with like some of those very proactive early
We're
game
a
decks.
pretty like
Blue.
straight down the aisle blue-green deck, I feel like.
Oh no, we're
Oh
lopsided.
no, we're very blue deck. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm saying. Like, yeah, 39 versus 22. Like
Huh.
it is not balanced.
I wonder if like Sylvan Tutor is better than like Nature's Rhythm or something like that.
Definitely not fucking better than Nature's Rhythm. Nature's Rhythm's one of the best tutors in the game.
Well,
right now.
my point isn't necessarily not to play that, but my thought being that I feel like the tutors that put cards in our hand are better than tutors that don't.
Here's what I think we can do instead, actually. There's two ways to do this. I think we can let's kill Sowing Mega Spawn because I don't think our deck cares about Cradle that well. Maybe it does. I don't know. I think it does. But one thing is, so let's get Invasion out. Let's put Archdruid's Charm.
I think Invasion we can say goodbye to.
I think Archdruid's Charm is going to be infinitely better than Sylvan Tutor.
Full agree.
And that actually puts it in our hand, right? Throwing a little Minamo action here just to get some untaps for sure with Cradle and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we're going to go full Deserted Temple, Minamo, all that kind of stuff, right? We're not doing Breeze Callers. So there's no Talon Gates in here, right? All right. And then we are looking. Oh, we haven't even done MDFCs, duh, except for Hydroelectric. But I think Sink into Stupor obviously fits really well here too.
Yeah. Play the green creature one. The
Disciple Fairies?
Yeah.
What are we trying to sack to draw which cards?
A really big Jackal. Because at that point it's like on 6 and we probably want to reset it.
I actually don't hate that. Yeah. That's fair.
And then the second one, the second Disciple would sack the first Disciple.
Yeah, I like it's upsetting because you're probably actually correct here.
And then you just draw like what 9 cards off of that?
Yeah. No big deal.
Just a casual 9 cards.
Yeah. NBD. Okay, so we have our combos in the deck are Cannon Basalt, Retraction. We're looking at Hullbreaker, Deadeye, Peregrine, Deadeye, Cloud of Fairies plus Cradle, Druid. That's too many. I say we next one.
Yep. I think
Cannon Basalt, as I mentioned, is the least flexible, so that's my vote right now.
I like I said, I was treading in that direction. I think I'm on Team Cut Basalt.
Cool. Great.
Still think we play Kinnan, but Kinnan is
yeah. Oh well, yeah. No, you play Kinnan. Period. Right. Like that's
Kinnan's,
not even really
Kinnan good.
That's
That's our hot take of the episode, guys. Kinnan is a good Magic card. Come back next week for more scalding hot takes from the Mind Sculptors.
I think maybe that since we have one slot available, do you want to look at like one of those silly move a counter cards?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to put like Eldritch Evolution in the deck like instead? Just Nixar and Jackal. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have like counter control, right?
Yeah, I think I would too. I think that's where like the Owaka could be good. That creature. I think I would rather have like a permanent that can do it than like Bioshift.
I honestly think that the guy from Final Fantasy is the best version of this effect I've seen.
Kind of am inclined to agree.
Yeah. Owaka. All right, let's see what the play patterns are looking like. Okay.
That's nothing.
It's upsettingly like a good hand that just doesn't have any creature payoff.
I guess it yeah, it'd be good if it had like a 1-drop in it.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you can turn one Jackal pretty fast.
Yeah. Okay.
If it had like a dork in that last hand, that would have been like the dream hand, right? Like
yeah. This is definitely one of those weird hands where it's like we have to throw our curve off if we want to start getting value off of Jackal. Right? I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
That's poo poo.
Is it? That's like really close, right?
You only got. How are you playing Jackal and then a thing?
We need one land, then we're there.
Okay. And all right, sure.
Yeah,
That's
I'm down for it.
okay back then.
Yeah. Shit, that's like the opposite of a land. Yeah. Now the question becomes like,
You have to play the bird here.
yeah, but then we just don't do anything for the rest of the game.
All you have to do is just draw one. This is why I wouldn't have kept that hand for what it's worth. Like,
yeah, no, I was very aware of the risks when I said to keep it, right? Like this is an intentional choice, right? But
yeah,
I don't know. I think I still play for the game plan, right?
sure.
Just hope you get a land. Oh, okay.
I think that's why you play the bird out, though, right? Is because like,
Oh no, the answer is there. It's just your Soul Cauldron. That's why. Because you can put the counter on Jackal and then you can move them up. There we go.
yeah,
Okay, so hypothetically, we untap with 2 mana this turn. Play Jackal, play Mox Amber, pass the turn, right?
yep.
Next
Then we
turn.
would have drawn the Kinnan.
Yeah, we drew the Kitty last turn. This is turn 3, even though it says 2. Okay, so turn 3, we go Agatha's. If there's any creatures in graveyard, we take it, put it on Jackal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get either 2 Kinnans or 2 Volatiles. Be good.
Depending on what's on the board. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. It feels like a lot of work to make this work. is
I agree. I think that hand though kind of proved to me that Agatha's is a central piece
for
to this
sure.
deck.
Yeah. No, I definitely was sold on Agatha's right there and then. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess the flaw in our thinking, I think, to me is now realizing like it's, yeah, maybe we just need to reduce the curve in general, right? Like just make
probably.
everything 1, 2, 3.
I think the clones are the only things out of there. I think the clones, Disciple, and like Hullbreaker are like
Needed.
what you keep over 3
Yeah.
mana.
So let's just okay. What happens if we just do this? Let's just nix the Deadeye Peregrine plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Archaic in general in these decks, right? But maybe we just don't have the space for it.
I don't think we can afford to play it personally.
Myco Spawn, same thing.
Yeah, I like it, but I don't know that we can afford it. And then the other things I feel like are just like Metamorph is functionally 3.
Yeah.
Clever Impersonator has so much upside that there's no reason not to play it.
Well, Metamorph isn't functional 3 for the deck's concerns, right? Like that's right.
Well, functional 3 from a casting perspective. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You still play it regardless, but like
Sure. Yeah, I think we need more 1s and 2s to make sure that early game is just consistent, right?
I would agree with that. I wonder if some of the like mana dorks where it's like tap a I wonder if something like tap a creature type stuff.
Like Gene Pollinator or whatever?
Yeah.
Why that particularly?
Just I don't know, just the thought that like you could
like this kind of stuff?
No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like supportive parents is what I'm thinking of. But I think that's
sure.
not what we want to be on.
All right, let's go back to the mana value 1 search. Right.
Let's
take
her out for a little testy drive.
That's nothing. 7. Woof. Tough. The 2 colorless lands in our deck.
2 of the 3 of them. That's better.
Yeah, it's a little commander agnostic, but like not bad.
It does
doesn't really
things.
Doesn't really do a whole lot. You know?
I guess it doesn't. The more I'm looking at it, the more I think you mulligan it. Yeah.
Like yeah, no.
You just mulligan that.
5. Cool.
Shit.
No, what would have been a perfect hand? It just ruined by 1 land. I think at 5 you keep though. Like
Yeah. You keep him put back like what, the Spell Seeker or the
Maybe like Strix and like one of these Enduring probably.
yeah.
All right, so as we said, gotta play a little risk with this one, right? But all right, so we're gonna risk this one. We'll try it. Okay, not a great turn one, but it's all right. Play the Manamo, got the Mox Amber. Turn 2, we do draw it. Got Lucky
Never didn't have
there.
it.
Yep. Play Jackal. Get 2 Elvish.
Two Elvish Reclaimers.
We're gonna fucking reclaim so hard. Bonk. I love this. The spider.
That's so funny. I need that copy token so badly. Holy shit.
Yeah. Then we go 1, 2. Oh, it goes tap, doesn't it? Man, that card sucks.
Just tap one of them because you have 2 of them.
What?
What do you mean?
No, I mean it's like fine. I'm just like if we could get the Cradle in untapped this turn, then like we go Cradle into the
you just
one
have to
ring,
do
right?
it.
But we gotta wait a whole turn for that, right?
Yeah, you just have to hold it up.
Oh yeah, and this has a 1 counter on it. The other option is also just actually going
Ballista on 1.
Ballista on 1, Ballista on 1, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it copies it as is on the stack, right? Which is the 2
so,
paid
yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, that is so. I need 1 million of those tokens.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay.
We did
Got
it.
a little punish for the Cradle play. I think the Cradle play is probably the smarter play, to be fair.
I tend to agree.
Okay. All right. So if we weren't greedy last turn, if we went for the Cradle play, we're still learning the deck. You know what I mean? We're learning the play patterns. Okay, so we just passed.
The size of
with
the
Elvish
cards a
Reclaimer up.
little smaller so I can process what the fuck is happening on the screen.
Was that?
Can we like reduce the size of the cards a little bit so I don't feel like I'm looking at my grandfather's phone?
Whatever. I'm doing this for the audience, so it's nice and easy to look at. Eat a dick. I don't want to hear from you. All right. So we get Cradle in untapped or tapped.
Yep.
This is turn 3. It's not my favorite turn 3 progression. Turn 4. Untap. Sick. Incredibly based. Land for turn. We go Ballista into double Spellseeker is not bad, right?
I've seen worse.
Ballista times 2. Cradle taps for
5.
Yeah, 5. Pretty dang okay. Float a blue.
Double Spellseeker.
Spellseeker. Double Spellseeker here feels ambitious, but it's okay. We'll still make it happen. Double Spellseeker.
I think you get Snap and
Snap Nature's Rhythm, I think, is the one.
I think that sounds accurate to me.
Snap. Yeah, Nature's Rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
We are shields down more than I would like to be, but like sometimes this happens when you mold a 5, right? Like you
Right.
just you
I think
have to
that's
go
more
greedy.
of a mold of 5 issue than a
deck issue. Yeah. So what's kind of fun about this is like not only can you go get like obviously do the snappy wit thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also Nature's Rhythm is the outlet in the bin as well, right? Because you go grab your you make infinite green, you go grab you have Ballista here on the battlefield actually, so it doesn't really matter.
Really fucking matter,
Yeah. You can go grab. Well, actually, with Infinite Green, Ballista is the best outlet. That is actually kind of interesting to think about too for the deck. Because one thing I was thinking about was like, okay, should we be on like Trinket Mage, to like go grab some of the smaller artifacts? Very specifically, like have a way to because Trinket Mage gets Ballista into your hand,
right? Which is
not
where you want it.
Yeah, because if you have infinite green mana and then you tutor, because we don't have like a Thrasio style card, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the ability to like go get the thing that just wins right away,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Trinket Mage isn't bad because I was thinking about Trinket Mage earlier, as I mentioned, and like Trinket Mage like ramps you a little bit. It doesn't like do crazy stuff, but like
I mean, it gets you a piece, right? Like
Piece. Yeah.
better than no piece.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then the other option is just like put Thrasios in the deck, like we already talked about, which
I mean, I think put Thrasios in the deck is the probably correct option. It feels wrong, or it feels bad, I should say. But like, I think that is the
it
correct
does. It does feel bad, just but like also if we flood out, it's not the craziest thing in the world, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's like such a low card quality, but Kinnan gets away with it too, you know. Like
I think I probably like that more than Uwaka, if I'm being honest.
Oh man, so we have no synergy with Jackal. I mean, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
because I think Jackal's like, I think the more we, what's it called?
Mess around with the deck. Yeah.
Mess around with it. I feel like Jackal has like a pretty hard ceiling.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So yoink back in again. Probably just a little too bad. Although I will say, like these Mox Opal hands have been run impressive. Now that I kind of like get how the deck plays out, I don't think even though we are on Retraction and Hullbreaker, that I like care that much about Mox Opal, right? Like I would be willing to not invest into it, but I think it's fine for the time being.
Yeah, I agree.
Second 7, another blue land, green mana dark problem. 6. Okay, it's a turn 1 Jackal, but no payoff. I think we can wait on Jackal in this hand. So this is 6.
I think we still probably keep that though.
Yeah, because I think you just go like 1, 2, 3, right, and then just hope that we hit a 1-drop in the relatively near future, and then worst case scenario, we'll like chill in the Tezzeret plan for a bit, you know, because like just because the deck is built around Jackal doesn't mean necessarily you have to like do the
put it out
thing.
right. You have other stuff that you can do.
Yeah, and like that's our turn to draw 1, then turn 2 after we untap with all of these. Yeah, you can cook here. Okay, cool. All right, it's looking more cohesive now. That's good. We needed to sort of get through version 1.0 to get to version 2. You know, a bunch of cards that pay off for Cradle with no way to get Cradle. Sounds like a mulligan. Second 7.
Wow, that Magus of the Candelabra did not move in your hand at all.
Yeah. I also noticed that very interesting glitch. Okay, this is a hand you absolutely
that's keepable.
Yeah. Boom.
Oh wow, that's actually quite good.
Tropical Island. Hopefully we hit a land drop next turn. Play Bop.
No, don't play Bop.
What?
Play Llanowar Elf.
Oh, because you
want to double the Bop.
Okay. Untap. Unfortunately, we whiff. That's okay. Play Jackal.
Yep.
Right. Next turn. Woof. I know this land whiff shit is annoying me. Trigger. Add a counter. Bird 2. Spiderman. Kind of down for like Mana Vault Spellskite to move it up.
Yeah, I think I could fuck with that, and then get it up to 3.
Yeah, but we don't have any 3s that are payoffs for it. So like I don't
know. Not in hand, but
well, it's also actually just Mana Vault hold up chord of calling X equals 3, which probably is just smarter.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, not bad for turn 3. What do we core?
Then you probably like 6, maybe.
I don't hate 6. 6 is a good value play. I think it super depends on like what's happening in the.
You can also get like you have your options here. Are like, oh no, you get Enduring Vitality. What the fuck am I talking about?
It only makes 1 more creature tap for mana.
Yes, but if we're planning on playing Spellskite on our next, well, we're probably playing Bloom Tender on our next one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the options would be Vitality, Ewit.
I mean, Flood Caller gets insane here, right?
Flood Caller could be quite good.
Kind of like getting Flood Caller, right? Because that means we're untapping 2 birds every non-creature spell, right?
Yeah. The my only concern with that is we don't have many non-creatures.
Yes, understood. Yeah. Okay. Next turn. And that's also one of those times where it's like, this is not how we would play that spell, right? Like, I think this is just like a generic value spell at this point, right? But like, we are playing around.
I think what we chord for there is so board dependent.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Yep. But also situations like this, like it pays off pretty well, right? Because you get to go like blue, float an extra green, right? Boom, untap, right? Like that shit's nice, you know?
Yeah, and then you can just tap one of them, play like a Bloom Tender or something. Like
Yeah, tap Bloom Tender.
two Bloom Tenders.
Two Bloom Tender. Yeah.
God, this is a very good Cradle deck, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
Whenever we
just
can find it.
makes a lot of bodies really fast.
Yeah, because like here, I think what's the quickest way to like the win per se? It's probably
I think you have to get an Ewit
yeah.
to get Nature's Rhythm back, and then you Nature's Rhythm again to get Spell Seeker to get the
Yeah.
to get what is it, Snap, and then you snap. But you need
I
somehow
think the
you need a Cradle in here somewhere.
yeah. So we have 2 mana. I guess I would have sequenced spells a little bit differently, but effectively we could have made enough mana instead of doing it this way, actually. So we have 1 green floating, right? 3, 4, 5. No, sorry, 2, 3, 4. I think what you're supposed to do is actually Nature's Rhythm for X equals 2 for Fauna Shaman. Because next turn, because Jackal specifically on 2 right now, right? Or it will be on 2 at the end of the turn, right?
Right.
So next turn, you get to go Fauna Shaman activation, pitch a creature, put Spell Seeker into hand, double Spell Seeker, get crop rotation, snap. And then if you can find another way to actually, yeah, crop rotation, snap, flashback.
No, you can't. You won't get, but Jackal won't tick up on 2 when you put the Fauna Shaman in. So it's still on 2. You need a 2
Yes,
before you can get
right.
the Spell Seeker.
So we are Nature's Rhythming right now, which that untapped our 2 birds.
Oh, and then you yeah.
And then we either double Bloom Tender or double Spell Seeker.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Or Spell Scout, I mean. And then next turn, yeah, as I mentioned, like, yeah, so it probably still double Bloom Tender. I think it's like pretty good, right? Because now, and I guess we can play this line out for the audience. You know, we paid for fish, maybe. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Pay for fish, right? Yeah, so you activate Fauna Shaman, right? Discarding Magus, going and putting Spell Seeker in hand, right? Boom. Spell Seeker's in hand. Yeah, you go 1, 2, 3, 4 extra blue floating, or let's do extra green floating so we can do the crop rotation. 2 Spell Seekers.
Crop Rot and Snap.
Yep. Then we get Crop Rot Snap. Hand. Snap into hand. Oh wait, I'm talking about all this, but do we actually have a payoff for Infinite Green? Why not?
You should be able to do this though, because you can. I'm trying to think.
Oh, yeah. Because you make Infinite Green, then the last snap you use to snap your Spell Seeker back to hand, you play it, get your Finale of Devastation, you win the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, we did it. Cool. GG's. How are you feeling about the deck?
Not bad.
Yeah, definitely better than when we first looked at hands, for sure.
Yeah. I think it needs tuning.
Yeah.
But I think like the idea works to some degree. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think the key is going to be like also I will no longer be taping temperatures on Spellseeker. You were correct.
Yeah.
That fucking is the glue that holds this deck together.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way as well.
I think it will probably need some tuning. I think that there honestly is a world where it might be an Aboro Breeze Caller deck. Honestly, the more we we're playing around with it, because it's an extremely good Gaia's Cradle deck.
Deck in
And like
general,
the
sure.
way it's able to generate bodies like
Yeah.
super fast.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I do think that we're probably like I think cutting Myco Spawn's just not correct. Like now that we've messed around with it more,
I agree. I fully
I,
agree.
I kind of like the 6 spot becoming a Myco Spawn.
I would agree with that. I think 6 just doesn't do
Do
much
enough. Yeah.
here.
Yeah. It's like a cute value play, right? But like we need the deck to be a little bit more like oomph, than that. Cool. Feel good though. I feel like
Yeah.
it feels like a brew that is good in theory, and like we can definitely iterate on more as
Yeah.
time goes on for sure.
Yeah. But this is something I would play. Like I think it
Yeah.
just would take us time to like
Get all the lines perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I think like once we do that, I think it will work. Like
hmm
it
hmm
feels like there is a functional deck here.
Agreed.
Uh,
Agreed.
yeah, I just really think we probably want to be on a Burrow Breeze collar the more I'm looking at this because I think
Mhm.
that is just I think that is going to make so many things easier.
Yeah, I think it's like way worse than in the Thrasios deck, but like that can still mean not that it shouldn't be played.
Right.
Like it's just you lose all the non-deterministic Thrasio storming that you have with those decks, right? Which is
Right.
like such a huge part of it, and I don't know what I would really want to cut for that space as of right now.
I think it's probably if I were to cut, it's probably like Polywog.
Mm,
Because
yeah, I don't know.
looking at those hands, I think Polywog doesn't. But man, Polywog just sucks, man. I
I don't
just
know that I agree with this assessment currently. I think like if you evolve Polywog once times two, like I think it's
yeah, it's
kind of your
probably.
only stable
It
engine.
might be like a Phyrexian Revoker or something along
Yeah,
those lines. I think
sure,
Phyrexian
sure,
Revoker, the benefit of it being colorless is that alone, but I think we have like Spellskite in that, and I think we get
sure.
more mileage out of a Spellskite.
Yeah, I can believe that. I think like
Uh,
it's not advancing our plan nearly enough, right?
yeah, and I think like a Breeze Caller
Sure.
does advance our game plan.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I'm open to it.
Um,
And then that means we have to add Talon Gates somewhere.
yeah, we had Talon Gates, which is like fine. Make
Yeah,
out
I
what
mean,
starting town?
yeah,
Question
probably
mark.
starting town. It's just tough because like we were just talking about how
Yeah, but
colorless lands are kind of ruining our hands, but
I think we might just make the deck more consistent though by doing what we're doing right now.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sweet.
do we have retraction? Yeah, we do have retraction
Yeah,
heals.
yeah, we still have it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I like where we're at. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, deck's still a work in progress, but yeah, progress being made. So thank you all for watching this episode. Appreciate you all in the YouTubes.
yeah.
Hopefully Cal has done a good job of slicing this down into something more digestible.
Yes, I will cut this into something intelligible. Um, for folks at home who would like to go through this sort of thing with you, Ian,
Yeah.
on a professional level,
Mhm.
how could they get a hold of you to do such a thing?
Yeah, if you're interested in either working on a brew or just getting yourself prepped for the cEDH meta in general, getting that tournament grinder aspect in, yeah, you can reach out to me at comedianmtg@gmail.com or at any of the places that Cal is nice enough to link in the link tree. Been one of the top players for the past almost half a decade now. And so, yeah, if you're interested in taking that next step up, feel free to reach out to me at those places.
We are going to be at Frenzy at the Falls here at the last weekend in November. That'll be up
Mhm.
at Niagara Falls Convention Center. You can find out all you need to know about that in the description below. Signups are down there. Up to $25,000 is what the scaling will be for the sign up for that event. So $120 entry for that. There's a bunch of side events, a bunch of stuff going on with that. There's modern, I think there's vintage, if I recall correctly. Um, there will be a graphic on the screen that will show you all the events that you can enter over that weekend. We will
Mhm.
both be there. So please head on over to the link down there below to get signed up for that event. What else are you going to be doing here, Ian? Where else can folks find you here in the near future?
Oh god. Yeah, so doing Frenzy. I'll be at Fishbowl, but by the time you hear this, it will have just happened last weekend. I am there's some tournaments coming up in December, which can be interesting in North and South Carolina. I might try and head out to Gold Sabretooth's next tournament. So there's a lot of stuff all around.
There's some stuff going on in Ohio too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think is that started next year or is that this year?
I think December there's a tournament, I want to say, in it's either in Cincinnati or Louisville, and I don't remember which one it is, but I will likely be making my way over to that one. If you want to support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/the Mind Sculptors. But we appreciate your help. It helps us pay for all of the little back end stuff that we have to pay for, like Riverside, which hopefully is working for us today, and Adobe Premiere and all those things. So it helps us keep those things running because they are not cheap. With that being said, I'm Cal.
I'm Ian.
Stay sculpty, everybody.
Bye.